Have you been following the Rogan talking about he's going to church? Have you been here?
I have. It's fantastic.
Do you have a clip of it, Rob?
I do.
Is this him talking about it?
Yes.
Go for it.
Wait, are you going to church too, or is that bullshit?
I have been to church.
Oh, fuck.
Why?
Have you ever been to church before?
I've been.
It's actually very nice. They're all just trying to be better people. It's a good vibe.
Why don't you go to a Catholic
They sing.
church?
I
Let's
tried
get you.
that. I did that.
I went to St. Pat's in New York.
Yeah,
That's
last
a beautiful
summer.
place.
got married
So
at?
nice. Some
But
guy
wait.
gave me a rosary. I keep it.
If it's not
very
Catholic,
nice.
which one is it?
It's just a Christian church.
A non-denominational
Christian
Christian.
church.
Yeah, all this fucking
Joel
gibberish.
Osteen shit?
No, yeah, I'm just giving all my money to Austin.
What do you think about this? What do
I
you
think it's
about-
great. I mean, he has been bringing on a lot more Christian conservative thinkers, and so I've kind of, I don't watch every single Joe Rogan show, but I've watched tons of them, hundreds of them, and I've seen that trajectory. I'm not totally surprised. You've seen, Candace Owens became Catholic last year.
Yeah, I saw that.
Jordan Peterson's wife became Catholic.
She looks
last
like
year.
she's on track for 8 kids, by the way.
They just had number
3.
Yeah, no, they're 4, I think.
They have
I
3
think the- I
sons.
think
You're
the
right.
new
Yes.
ones, yeah.
They're on track.
They're on track. They're
double
traditional
digits.
Catholic.
Yeah.
They're hitting those. We got to pump those numbers,
They're
people.
going.
Pump the
They're
numbers.
going.
It could be. I think in some like Mormon circles, and maybe even in some Catholic circles, it could be a sometimes perceived by people on the outside as a status symbol. They're like, "Oh, you're trying to flex on us because you have a Mercedes van with 7 kids in it, or whatever." And I've never thought like, "Oh, I want to flex on people by changing diapers for years upon years." You know what I mean? But honestly, it's so many times it does happen to us now because our youngest is 9, our oldest is turning 23. When we're out like a posse, so many people come up and they're just like, "This is so this is so beautiful.
I love it.
Thank you." People, especially older people, but even some younger people. After church the other day, this couple came up to me and they're like, "We just got married last weekend." And I was like, "Congratulations, welcome to matrimony. It's going to be hard, it's going to be great." And they're like, "Do you have any advice?" And they're like, "We love seeing your family." And I just gave them some advice. And so there are these people who I think have maybe lived the degenerate lifestyle and they party, and they got out in time. And they realize, I really want to live that transcendent life.
To get out of that degenerate lifestyle quick. It's because you can prolong that for 30 years.
I mean, you and I know, like, we had friends, you can drink and party, but once they start hitting 40, you can see it on them.
Yeah, it's like, dude, relax.
Yeah.
Like, use that, aging for the right investment, and it's kids. But Rogan, so you're saying the trajectory. You watch hundreds of episodes, you've kind of seen where he's going. What is the trajectory that you've seen him go through? Because he is the modern day Johnny Carson, right? Where people are watching him go through it. And I would also put the modern day Johnny Carson with some kind of because with Johnny was all entertainment, right?
Yeah.
There's an element of here learning, education,
I think he's
curiosity.
he's a Johnny Carson, but he's also kind of a tribal leader because he has all these people.
No question
in his
about it.
wake. I was a jiu-jitsu guy, and I was watching him because of jiu-jitsu and UFC and all that. And then he started getting more into the intellectual and having professors on. I was like, "Oh, this is interesting, like a new turn for Joe Rogan."
Right.
And then through kind of the Trump years, he started, saying some things like, "That sounds kind of MAGA, Joe. Like you're starting to go a little MAGA." And then he had Trump on, and I saw he was covering like the Shroud of Turin, and he's had a couple of evangelical Protestants on, and I'm like, they aren't just showing up here accidentally. Clearly, I mean, we both do podcasts and interview people. You kind of explore the space, like that person would be interesting. That would be interesting.
Right.
So he's clearly curating these guests, and he's exploring it. So when I saw that, I was happy for him. I think he grew up Catholic and early on left it. I think that's his backstory. But I think it's a great trajectory, and we're starting to see it with so many people, athletes, people in the public eye. There is an end to degeneracy. You can only be so gay, so many genders, so,
You can only be so gay? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
You can only be so gay.
Yeah, you can only, never go full gay, right? But you can only go, there's only so many drugs and so many experiences and so many, different varieties of partners. You eventually come to the abyss of being, and you're like, is this all there is? I mean, there's a whole book of the Bible, Ecclesiastes, You know, he says, I tried everything, food, women, everything, and everything's vanity of vanities. I found no meaning. I found no hope. I found no joy. And then he says, so what is the meaning of life? And he says, it's to fear the Lord. That's a transcendent leap. You know, you're removing yourself from what you are in the moment and what you desire in this moment, instant gratification. You're like, I'm going to fear the Lord. I'm going to live for something beyond. And what's great about Christianity is it's not just a transcendent deity like Allah. It's the Word became flesh and dwelt amongst us. Like Jesus Christ, the Son of God, comes and lives amongst us. Yeah. And, you know, we just had that horrible flood in Texas. I don't know if you saw that.
Of course.
Oh,
terrible.
Gosh, it's horrible.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely.
The kids, the stories, the father breaking the arm and window and dying and telling the kids, you guys go. No, it's just devastating.
It's horrific to even. And people have been asking me, you know, like, oh, you got a PhD in philosophy. How do you solve the problem of evil? You can't solve the problem of evil. You read the book of Job. God handles it, and he's like, you don't know. You don't get to know. But what we do have is we have the idea that the Son of God became flesh. He dwelt amongst us. He was ridiculed. He was persecuted. He was punched in the face. They spat in his face, says the Bible. They put a crown of thorns on him. They whipped him to shreds. They made him carry the cross. They crucified him. They continued to laugh at him and mock at him. He experienced human suffering. He did not draw away from the human experiences. And he absorbed the evil of the world. And then he dies. And then he rises again on the third day. And you'd expect, like, if it's a Hollywood movie, he'd be like John Wick, like Rambo, just coming back like, you bastards, look what you did to me. But he says, peace. I forgive you. Come unto me. The kingdom of God is at hand. And the fact that Jesus Christ dwells amongst us, you look at all these parents that are grieving, you know, there's a couple, they had 2 Catholic young girls, they died holding each other, holding their rosaries, just absolutely horrific. I was talking about it on my podcast yesterday, I was crying. I was like, if this happened to my daughters, I don't even know how to handle this. But there's no answer to it philosophically, but there is the reality that Jesus is in the valley of tears with us. He's crucified. And the fact that God is with us and came down to be with us provides consolation to it. We won't know till we get to heaven. But the fact that he did come down and he was with us and he suffered with us, no other religion has that. Nothing. It's our faith. And to me, that's why I'm a Christian. That's why I love Jesus Christ. That's why I believe in him. That is the story of all stories.
Yeah, you know, it's beautiful when you're saying that, because I wrote down a bunch of different things to ask you a question on the process you go through. You know, for me, just living a selfish life, going through it, whether it's pre-army, army, bitter towards life and different people in your life on what happened and the amount of people let you down, disappointed, and you just kind of feeling this victim, oh my God, poor me, and all this other stuff. And you're like, relax, buddy. And then I go from that to certain incidents that happened. I've shared the stories about what happened with my mother when she called me, and a few other instances. Then I go and I meet a group in Pasnaz, Glendale. I do Bible study with these guys. And a friend of mine, one of my friends, ended up taking his own life after the Bible study because he was addicted to Vicodin. It was very tough. One of my favorite people in the world. And we'd stay up from Friday, 6 o'clock at night till 2 o'clock in the morning. And he was an expert in philosophy, Pastor Mano. And we would talk philosophy, Aristotle, you know, Stoicism, Epictetus, you know, all these, Seneca, and what about this, and what about, you know, how he went from being a cynicism to Stoicism to, because that's how the concept of cynic came about. I'm like, oh my God, I'm enamored by this. And a couple years later, I become a Christian. January 21st of 2004, I give my life to Christ at this church in Porter Ranch, Shepherd of the Hills. And I was the guy Saturday nights in Pasadena holding up signs, John 3:16, Jesus is coming, outside of nightclubs at 2 o'clock in the morning. No one in a million years, not many people know this story. But some of the guys that knew me from that era, like, what are you doing outside of the nightclub? I said, bro, this thing's changed my life, bro.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, my God. Like, well, there's no way. We're going to see you at the after hours. You ain't going to see me anywhere. And it was that shift. It was that shift. And the types of energies it brought into my life was so beautiful, but also tough. The accountability, the temptations increased. Now that they knew what life I wanted to live, the number of people knocking on the door in birthday suits increased. for whatever reason. It's like, hey, you're going to say no to this? Damn, get out. Leave the house, right? You're 25, 26, 27, trying to go through this. But it wasn't easy. It was challenging. But the life I live today, I cannot believe the life I live today. I feel like I'm the luckiest man alive for what God has given me.
What would you
makes no sense
say
to me.
if you could go back and tell that young Pat in that moment?
While he's already gone through it, or he's going through it?
The moment he had the conversion. What would you go back and tell yourself?
I would just,
because I'm sure at the moment you were like, "Am I really in on this? Is this for me?"
I almost wouldn't tell him anything.
You wouldn't,
because
okay.
you got to go through it, bro.
That's true.
I'm gonna be like, no, like my son. I dropped him off at a certain university. I'll announce in 3 weeks. He's at a university. He's going first time ever. He's away from us for 13 days, and I wrote him this long text while he's going there, and very long text message. It's private. I'm not going to share it publicly because he wouldn't like me doing that. But I wrote this message to him. I'm just kind of like, hey, Daddy, this is what I want you to know. Here's what your dad is thinking about. I'm kind of going through it. And as I'm typing, and I keep making it shorter. Right? And then eventually I send it out to him. And a part of what he's going through as a 13-year-old, he's got to go through it.
Yeah.
You got to give 10, 20% and just make sure you have the right guardrails. This is the first time we've left the guardrails out. I was away from my dad for a year and a half, from 10 to 12 years old, when my parents got the nasty divorce. I only talked to him one time in a year and a half, and I grew the most at 18 months. It was the scariest 18 months of my life. As a 10-year-old, I left Iran, I don't speak German, and I'm in a refugee camp. But I had to be like, hey, stop acting like you're going to be okay. But where is he? I need my dad. Like, you're kind of going through this, and you don't like God at the time because of all the things that happen in Iran, and you have to lose all your friends that you loved. So I had to go through it. I think I would tell Patrick, you got to go through it, bro.
Yeah.
It's going to be some weird moments you're going to have, and you're going to get tested, and let's see how you handle it. Instead of saying, that one girl's going to show up. Don't do this.
Yeah.
That one thing's going to happen. It's going to be like, let's see what you're going to do, buddy. But the reality of it is, God's with you. You're not alone.
That's right.
So you're not going through this journey. Whenever you feel fully lonely, get on your knees, pray, and try to stay there as long as possible, as much as possible, as close to him as possible. And then the bigger and bigger life got, I realized there's no way in the world I can do anything big by myself. Not me. No, oh my God, look what you built, bro. Yeah, I work very hard. I mean, people who know me, they know I work very hard. But the number of miracles that's happened, I can't take credit for that. It's a beautiful thing. I'm grateful for it, but I can't take credit for that. But the lifestyle of a degenerate, for how long? What is new? You're not going to break Will Chamberlain's record.
No.
You know what I'm saying? You're just not, bro. The math doesn't add up.
Hey, I'm Dr. Taylor Marshall, and I run a podcast and write books on philosophy, theology, Catholicism. My wife and I have 8 children, so if you'd like to connect and ask me any questions on any of these topics or anything else, please connect with me on Connect.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.